Hello, welcome to livealittlehigher.com. Today we start with the parasha of Chayei Sarah. Chayei Sarah means the life of Sarah. It's interesting because actually the parasha begins with the death of Sarah. We're going to see one of the reasons why this parasha is called the life of Sarah. And something happens in this parasha that is very relevant to us today, and is that after Sarah was buried, Abraham decides that it's time to marry his son, and he goes out to look for a wife for his son. So he takes his most trusted servant, who is Eliezer of Damascus, and he entrusts him to go and find a wife for his son Isaac from his household. And he makes him promise, and actually the Torah says it literally. Abraham said to his servant, the senior member of his house, who was in charge of everything he had, "Please place your hand under my thigh to swear an oath. I will make you swear by God, the God of the heavens and the God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites amongst whom I live. Rather, you should go to my land, to my birthplace, and you will take a wife for my son, for Isaac." So what is he doing here? First of all, he's making his servant promise him he's not going to marry his son with one of his daughters. He came from the land of Canaan. And he wanted his son to marry a girl that came from his household. We know that Abraham's household was not like the most proper people. They were idol worshippers, they were thieves, they didn't have a very good repertoire. But nevertheless, he felt that his son needed to marry somebody that came from the same place he came. So from here we learn that one of the most important things as a parent is that we never end our education with our kids. It doesn't matter if our child is 37 years old like Isaac was at this point. The father was always concerned with the future of his son and his education. So from here we see that he was very much into choosing a wife for him. In our daily day, today, 21st century, this teaches us that as parents, we have to always be concerned with the future of our children and be on top of who they're going to choose as a partner. I know it's very hard today because the kids are very liberal, but nevertheless, it's important that they know that you care and what is important for you. So here we see that the servant said to him, "What if the woman will not want to follow me to this land? Shall I take your son back to the land from where you came?" And Abraham says, "Absolutely no," because Isaac was almost a sacrifice. Abraham took him to be sacrificed in the Akedah, and although he didn't sacrifice him physically, spiritually, Isaac was considered a sacrifice, and he could never leave the land of Israel. So he said to him, "No, this girl that you choose, that you feel is the right girl for him, has to come. If not, she's not the one." And he gives Eliezer everything he will need for the trip. He gives him money, he gives him jewels, he gives him his camels, and he gives him everything that he can give him so he can go successfully. And he blesses him, telling him that he will send angels before him, that they will help him in his shlichut, in his job. So we see here that the trip that Eliezer was supposed to do in 17 days actually was made in one day. From here we learn that when a person wants to do a mitzvah, Hashem shortens the trip, so you can do it right away. Like for example, I don't know if you've ever seen that when you're gonna do something, sometimes all the lights in the street are in red, and then you are like in red, and then sometimes they're all in green, and you just go. So whenever you're gonna do something for God, then Hashem like makes things go faster for you so you can get it done easily, and He sends angels in front of you that will pave the way so you can get to your destination in a good way. Here we see that Eliezer starts praying to God, and he comes to a well, and he prays to God a very fervent prayer where he's asking God that the girl that is going to be for Isaac should not only offer water to him, but should offer also water for the camels. And we see here that this girl comes along and she has a pitcher of water on her shoulder. She bends and he sees that the water goes up to her. She doesn't have to make a big effort to fill the jug of water. And he realizes this is a special girl. This is not just any girl. This is a very special girl. And he looks at her and she looks at him, and right away his prayer is answered. And the question is that this question goes here in the commentaries, is how can it be that the prayer was answered even before he finished praying for it? How could it be? And then the answer is that Abraham had sent these angels before him. They were not with him, they were before him, and they were helping pave the way so everything would go according to divine providence. And we see the hand of God in every little act. The story of Eliezer looking for a wife for Isaac is recounted. I'm not going to read it all because it's very long, but it takes a lot of pasukim in the Torah where it's explained in detail every little thing that happens between Eliezer and Rivka, and then when he meets her parents and her brother, and everything that goes around. It's very, very detailed, and it is done in a way because the Torah doesn't have one word that is more or one word that is less. It's exact. So what God is trying to tell us here is that when you're going to look for a spouse, it has to be detailed. You don't go out with anybody and say, okay, I'm getting married now. No, you have to look at everything. You have to concentrate. Is this the person for me? Is this the family for me? And not rush into these situations. So here we learn that she came and offered water to him, and then she said to him, and I'll give to your camels too. Right away she answered. When she came back to the well, the water didn't rise up for her again. She had to make an effort and get the water out of the well. So from here we learn that when we're doing a mitzvah, we have to put an effort. Why? Because Hashem is giving us the opportunity to create merit for ourselves. If it would be easy, there would be no merit. So the first time that she was going to give him water, she didn't even see him before. The water rose for her because Hashem is doing kindness to her. She's such a kind girl that's the reflection she gets from God. She helps God, God helps her. And the second time, when she's going to do a mitzvah that she's knowingly going to give to the camels, she has to put her effort. Going straight forward, after she decides she wants to go with Eliezer, and she goes with him, she takes her maidservant with her. Eliezer comes back and tells Abraham the whole story again in details. So here again we learn how important this part of the Torah is about unions of marriage, how important it is to marry our children. And then this is the most romantic part of the whole Torah, is when Isaac and Rivka meet, and she's coming down with the camels, and it's the time of Minha prayer, afternoon prayer, and she sees him in the field, and she is taken aback by his he was very handsome man, and asks Eliezer, who is that? And he says, that's Isaac. And it says that she veils herself. From here we learn when a bride is walking down the chuppah, she covers her face as a sign of modesty, and there's other reasons that we'll go into later. And then when he sees her, the first thing he does is he takes her to his mother's tent, to Sarah's tent. And the minute she walks into the tent, the lights of Shabbat are turned on. It says that Sarah had 3 miracles in that tent. One was that the Shabbat candles burned from Friday to Friday. Her challah was kept fresh the whole week, and she had the clouds of glory on top of her tent as protection. And all these 3 miracles started to happen again when Rivka came into the tent. And then it says that Isaac first knew her, and then he married her, and then he loved her. From here we know that marriage not always is for love comes first. Yes, there has to be an attraction. There has to be a spark between the couple that they like each other. But really love comes once they're married and they're working together and they're being kind to each other and they're loving each other and they're just good to each other. So from here we learn that love comes from the kindness, and how important it was to choose a kind woman for him, because this was the character trait of Rivka. Yitzhak, on the other hand, was Gevura, was justice. He was very disciplined and straight. She, on the other hand, was more like his father Abraham. She was all kindness. She was compared as a rose amongst thorns. So she was that balance in his life. And with this I finish. I know that today for people it's getting more difficult to get married. The idea of marriage sometimes is very scary, and people don't want to commit. But the truth is that we were made to be married and to have families and to have babies and to have children and to continue in the footsteps of our parents. And this is why this parasha, Chayei Sarah, is called the life of Sarah, because Sarah lived through Rivka. And by her keeping up what the mother did, Sarah's life had not ended, it was continuing. And today, every time there's a Jewish marriage, a woman marries a boy, and her house is a Jewish home where there's Shabbat candles and challah, and there's family purity, the life of Sarah continues through us. And so this is it. I want to wish you a good week and a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher.